Hey everybody, this is Bobby.
This is Justus.
And this is episode 8 of Between Sundays, our Christmas special.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. And we hope you are having a good time with your family, whether you traveled, whether everybody came to you. We hope you are enjoying this time of year. I know our students are on Christmas break and couldn't be more excited. I was looking back the other week, getting into the last couple classes. I teach Bible at our day school, and they were checked out. They were just done and didn't want to do anything. And so it was fun. They were ready for the bell to ring and all that good stuff. So we hope our students are having a good time on their break. I hope our parents are not going crazy while you're dealing with your students on the break. Hopefully not. But we do hope that it is a good time of year for y'all, and we hope you have a good Christmas. And now, do y'all travel, or are y'all here, Justus, for Christmas?
We'll be here for Christmas.
You'll be here for Christmas. I know we're a mix of both. It's either, well, we're here and then we have to travel. Like we're here because kids get out of the bed and they get to go open up everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like pack everything up and then hit the road.
Yeah.
It's very mean, I think, at times. It's like, hey, here's this gift. You can't play with it. We got to go get in the car and go see everybody. So, but we're actually going to see my wife's family this year. So it's not too bad. It's like 2 hours down the road.
You were telling me how much you're not looking forward to that before we, weren't you saying, did you say something?
Not for the people, for the travel.
Okay.
All right, let me
That's
clarify.
what it was.
Let me clarify. I love my wife's family. I have great in-laws. It's the traveling. It is throwing 3 kids in the car and trying to get down the road in a timely manner, along with all the other people that are traveling on Christmas that have no clue how. Everybody, how to drive, and nobody else knows how to drive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it goes in the traffic time or the Christmas time. And then like you're hoping, okay, I pray I don't hit a speed trap or anything like that. All the nice state troopers and policemen that are out on the road for the holidays. So it's just a fun time of year. So we did 1 year where, so my side of the family's from North Carolina, and then of course Heather's side is from Georgia, Milledgeville, Georgia area. And we did 1, maybe 2 years of, we would go to one family member and then drive 6 hours within a day or so to the next family member, and then come back, and doing that with a baby.
No shot.
No, we were done after that. So we alternate now.
I'll send you a hearty Merry Christmas text.
That's how the second time, again, I think Justus was maybe 1 when we did it the second time or something, maybe a little older, but it was horrible. Just trying to 6 hours on the highway and traffic and all that. No, we were done with that. So anyway, so we're not too bad this year. Like I said, we're just a couple hours down the road, so it's not horrible. So, but anyway, again, Merry Christmas to everybody. We do hope you have a good holiday, good time of year. And today we're talking about, of course, this whole journey that we're on. The podcast is called Between Sundays. And so today we're going to be doing a little bit of a Christmas special with this that we're calling Between the Lights. And so we think very fitting, obviously, with everything that we talk about. But this idea of finding Jesus in the midst of all the noise, finding him in the midst of all the busyness. Christmas is meant to be a great time of year, and obviously as Christians is even more so a great time of year, not just because of things we get or stuff or presents, but because of the hope that we have and the message that we try to share this time of year. And it's meant to be those things, but oftentimes, more than not, and I think we all know this to be true, Christmas gets very busy, it gets very loud, it gets very overwhelming. I'm sure you probably remember, when you were younger, if the family came over to the house or this or that, it was just all hands on deck, everybody clean your room and everybody do this and that and got to get all the dinner ready and all this stuff. And if we're not careful, we hit this busyness. And I think even more with social media nowadays, we pair busyness, and we've talked about this before, with comparison and what did this person get compared to what I got, and all of these things. And so that's what we're talking about today. Just getting to this place of making sure we find Jesus in the midst of all of the craziness, in the midst of feeling exhausted because we're running, because we're doing this, in the midst of all the noise. How do we find Jesus? And I want to kind of set it up with this piece of scripture right here. In Psalms 46:10, it says this: "Be still and know that I am God." It says, "I will be exalted among the heathen, I will be exalted in the earth." But again, it says, "Be still and know that I am God." And we've got to get to this place of understanding that God isn't always going to be loud, right? Mm-hmm. God isn't always going to be in the big noise, and it's not always going to be extravagant things or this big grand show of who God is. Sometimes it's in that silence. And so if I had to ask you a question today, where do we find Jesus when everything else around us feels so loud? And that's what I want to look at today. Where do we find Jesus when everything around us feels so loud? When there's noise around us, when there's busyness, when there's craziness, all of these things. How do we find Christ in the midst of all that?
Yeah, that's... I wish for Christmas I wouldn't have gotten all this crud, but...
Yeah.
No, I was on the phone with my mom even yesterday, and we was kind of talking about, Christmas is here and it's over.
Yeah.
And, it's something that before, this has been weeks ago, it's a joyous time. It's a time that we get excited about. But it seems like the older I get, the more almost a burden Christmas becomes.
Yeah.
Not because of the Christmas story and Jesus and all of that, but it is the busyness that starts to wear you down.
Yeah.
I think you said it just a minute ago. This expectation that we put on ourselves for getting presents, and I know a lot of people have realized this, that presents are expensive.
Yes.
And I know people trying to pick up extra shifts and, trying to stress themselves out even more of making sure that there was enough presents underneath the trees for everybody. And, Christmas has really turned into something at our own expense and our own fault. It's turned into something that we've really gotten away from what it's really about.
Yeah.
And I maybe I could be wrong. Maybe it's just me getting older, but I don't ever feel like it was. I don't feel like it was always this way. I feel like there was a time where, we didn't necessarily wonder what other people got and try to get better presents than everybody. Yeah. Or when dinner comes around, we were making sure that everybody was nice and clean, and we were taking pictures to post them. And
yeah,
I think a lot of it is an expectation that we put on ourselves for Christmas, and that's kind of one thing I'm excited about in this episode is, Christmas is over. I mean, we've said Merry Christmas, we've bought gifts, we've wrapped stuff, we've decorated. For instance, like we're going on. My wife made this statement yesterday. We're going on a little trip the day after Christmas, and she was like, I really want to get back to take all the Christmas down. And she's like, it's just going to stress me out the whole time that we're gone. And I was like, well, then what was the point of us putting it up?
Yeah.
And not in a mean way, but it's kind of looking back and reflecting of like, man, we have just been so busy that it's just kind of like, well, we're just done with it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'm excited about in this episode. We kind of dive into, that kind of reflection of getting back to how can we make Christmas easier on ourselves.
Absolutely. And I agree with you too. I mean, I remember, which obviously when I was a kid, I mean, we didn't have social media like we do now, and we're so connected in a lot of good ways, but in a lot of bad ways.
Yeah.
And like you said, when I got Christmas presents, it wasn't, okay, well, let me go on Facebook to see what Johnny down the street got because his parents have posted all these pictures of it. I think, you've got things like social media and the big thing that I remember when it came out that everybody was excited about, and I remember saying at times is like, this is going to add a lot of pressure, is when things like Pinterest came out. And so we got to have the Pinterest perfect house of, how does the mantle look and how does the tree look and all of these things. And we've commercialized. I mean, we start getting stressed out about this holiday back at Thanksgiving because of Black Friday shopping and things like that. Oh, now's when I can get all the gifts, or I can get this or get that. And, I've talked with lately in the last few years, some of the best presents that I know like our boys have received has not been something as far as an item, but, it may be tickets to a show that they want to go see, or to do this trip or that. But again, like you said, getting back to, we do all this for, a day. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, what's next? Yeah. And so, like you said, how do we get back to really the simplicity of it, not getting so stressed out, and the noise isn't always external, and that's a lot of it too. We deal with a lot of the external things, but we've talked about this. It's not, for some, it's not the easiest time of year because of situations that people go through, and so it's very much an emotional level at times, or a mental noise, or even spiritual. Just this, maybe this place in their life where they're not as close to God as they desire to be, and it's kind of a reminder of what God's done for us. And I think it can add some of that noise to us as well. Our students, they're coming out of finals and making sure their grades are in for the end of the year. We have family expectations and social pressure and all of this pressure to be happy. I'll say it like this, because it's Christmas, and we get so caught up in those words, or that word right there, Christmas, rather than why are we celebrating this time of year, and not getting caught up in almost just a word that's on every billboard, other than if they're maybe saying holidays, but a word that's on every billboard and in every store, rather than getting caught up in the time of year. One thing that I'm thankful that my dad did every year, and it's still something that I strive to do with my boys every year. There was never a time that I remember that before we opened any present, before we even saw what was under the tree, that my dad didn't open up a Bible and us read through Luke chapter 2. And why? Because he was say, look, you're going to get really excited about what's in there, but let's make sure we remember, one, why we're blessed, why we have the life we have, why any of this is possible today, because of Jesus Christ and this life. I mean, again, I look at if Jesus hadn't got a hold of my dad, and my dad got saved, I mean, my life would look different. So, I mean, it's getting back to that, why we have this hope and everything. And I would challenge you, students, as you're in this time of year, as you're around this holidays, we're going right from Christmas, of course, into New Year's too. But ask yourself, what feels so loud right now? What's causing all this noise in my life? And the reason I say that is getting to this place of, is it noise because of something that I've let come into my life or allow to be there that shouldn't be noisy? Is it comparison on social media? Is it being left to my thoughts and being consumed by all these things? We've got to get to this place of and being willing to evaluate things for us to know where we're at and why things are so busy and why things feel so stressed around us.
Yeah. No, I think it's, and I don't want to say it's, Christmas is sometimes a self-inflicted thing that we cause, pain on ourselves, because we put an expectation, and I think too with a lot of it, you know, a lot of stress that comes is gift wise of being, you know, we care more about how much we spend on somebody instead of what we get them.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, a lot of times this is a difficult time of year because, you know, there's some families that are going to have 2 Christmases this year. There's some people that are going to have a Christmas with somebody not there. And we've lost family members.
Yeah.
You know, and it never gets easier. I don't want to say it doesn't get easier. It never really gets to that point of feeling like it's normal, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times when we hit that spot, I know at least for me, really taking that self look of saying, okay, what am I doing that's kind of taking away from what this is supposed to be?
Yeah.
You know, why do I feel like I'm being rushed? And a lot of it is not outside voices, but inside voices of saying, this is the expectation that you're putting on Christmas for yourself, when in reality, you know, I know we didn't talk about this, but I don't think it's wrong to say, kind of a spoiler alert, that, you know, maybe Jesus wasn't born on Christmas Day. I mean,
Yeah.
You know,
What?
yeah, I know. So
You just blew everybody's mind.
I know, and this is the reality of it, is that we live a life for December to really recognize that. And I think that's another thing that adds to us sometimes, is we're only waiting for December to really bring out that side of our Christianity where,
Yeah.
you know, we start sharing the gospel with people, and then we start putting this other expectation on ourselves that, you know, it is going to be a rough Christmas for a lot of people, and then we stress ourselves about how we're going to help people and
Yeah.
what people are going to think, and, you know, when in reality it all boils down to just this one thing.
Well, and two, you know, it's we got to understand we live with that hope every other day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Why it becomes a bigger focus this time of year, I don't know where that really came from compared to just, hey, let's talk about this hope year round.
Yeah.
Let's help people year round. Let's, you know, be an encouragement to others year round. All of these things. It is amazing how there are, you know, things certain times a year that those bring out certain things when, you know, we have Christ with us all the time. And so it's, okay, maybe we wouldn't get so stressed out if we lived in that hope the other 364 days out of the year. And we acknowledged where our hope comes from all of those other times of the year, rather than just getting caught up in that moment. And I look at the scripture that we was talking about just a second ago. If we learned all the other days of the year to be still and you know, do our best to be in tune with what God's doing, rather than waiting till the stressful moments.
Yeah.
It's I've told our teens this a lot. It's kind of like, you know, if you're gonna train for something, you know, I know you very much love military things and all that stuff, and you've talked about that. But you know, if you were ever to go into basic training, you're getting the training beforehand before you go to any battle. They're not. If you were to walk into a recruiter's office and you signed up to go into the Army, they're not going to be like, all right, here's your pack, here's your rifle, we're sending you overseas to whatever conflict or war or whatever. They're going to send you to training. They're going to get you ready, so that way when the stressful moments come, when the craziness comes, you're as best you can be prepared for it. And I think like this right here, in this case, this time of year, if we're not throughout the rest of the year doing what we can to be in tune with God, to try to be still and just listen for Him, then these moments I feel like can be more stressful than what they're meant to be, because we haven't done what we really need to be doing in the midst of those situations. And, you know, I'm looking at, as we you know, talk about this stillness and all of these things, stillness isn't about necessarily silence.
Yeah.
I can be silent and get nothing out of it. I can be silent and it be a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
But stillness, and what we're talking about here, is just stepping back and refocusing on God, and putting our attention on Him. Stillness doesn't mean that life is going to stop being busy. Just because I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold myself up. If me and you decided, okay, we're just going to sit in this office, all day and not deal with it. It doesn't mean life doesn't happen outside.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't keep going. It just means that, we're just not doing anything about it. But if we say, okay, I'm going to step back and I'm going to refocus on some things, and I'm going to get back to God, where it says be still, but then it adds to this, and know that I am God. Well, how do I do that? I got to focus on Him. I can't be still and just tune everything else out and then expect to know more about who He is. But if I'm still and I choose to focus on Him, then that'll help me in the midst of those situations. And so again, it's choosing moments to notice God in all of the craziness around us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and you might be listening to this episode the day after Christmas, or the week after Christmas. And of course, it's released on Christmas Day for kind of a challenge or reflect. If you're listening after Christmas, is kind of look back on, now that Christmas is over, look back on it and kind of see, okay, what was different, a few days ago than today. And it's almost this, finally, the ability just to kind of stop and just kind of, take a break. And it's important that if we would remember that stillness and remember that ability, that it doesn't mean you're not busy, but you're taking time to give God attention.
Yeah.
I think it would help us a lot. I know at least it helps me whenever it comes to really of course, nothing ever goes the way you want it to go whenever you're trying to get it to go that way.
Yeah.
Like Christmas we've got ABC planned, and we're probably going to show up 30 minutes late to everybody's thing because, something's going to happen.
Sometimes I intentionally show up late for some things.
Like the Milledgeville, right?
Yes.
Okay. They're like, man, we wish you could take your Christmas presents back, don't we? But it's that intentionality of saying, okay, I'm recognizing that this time of year is meant for Christ, and I'm really putting my attention on, if we're getting down to the nitty gritty, we're putting our attention on ourselves.
Yeah.
Of saying, you might say, well, my attention is trying to get other people gifts. Well, then what you're telling me is your intention was you was trying to make sure everybody was happy with you.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of it is self-induced when it comes to, I'm trying to make sure that I'm happy, not making other people happy.
Yeah. And not a bad thing to make people happy, but as long as we don't lose the focus and things.
Yeah, yeah. And it's definitely, and I challenge everybody that's listening to this, realize the difference in the day after Christmas and the day before Christmas, and really think, okay, if I would have just taken a little extra time and focused a little bit more on Christ and what He's done for me, not what I'm doing or what I'm doing for other people or what other people are doing for me, but what Christ has done for me in this. See if it would have made a difference. Maybe some people say it's not going to, and that's to each their own. But I'm going to challenge you even for next year. I know we kind of got the unfortunate part of, today's episode being on Christmas.
Yeah.
So we can't really give you a good lineup or a good way right before Christmas. But I encourage you for next year.
Yeah.
Even as it gets closer, remember whenever it starts getting busy, remember that maybe the reason it's getting busy is because I'm putting some expectation on myself, or I'm expecting something. I'm expecting to get something out of this that might not go the way I want it to.
Yeah.
So that stillness is so important this time of year.
Absolutely. And like you said, I know this drops Christmas Day, and some of you may be hearing this afterwards, and again, completely fine. We're not asking you in the midst of opening presents, be like, all right, everybody, hush. Between Sundays,
that's what my family will be doing.
I mean, that we would appreciate it. We would appreciate it. So maybe I'll just bring a random Bluetooth speaker and just start playing it in the midst.
Hey guys,
of all
you guys mind if we can we cut the Christmas music down just a little bit? I gotta just something real quick.
Yes.
I wanted you to listen.
Since
to.
y'all have all been acting crazy while I've been unwrapping things, let me get a little reality check here.
That's what somebody's gonna be like. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm wore out. Be like, did you listen to
That's right.
Between Sundays podcast?
I got something that'll help you right now.
Let me send you a link real quick.
That's right. But as you listen to this, and again, I know some of this is okay, look at next year, but these are things that I'll say this too, don't wait till next year to implement these things.
Oh, yeah.
Again, if you can learn, maybe it's taking the end of the year and again asking yourself why not just this time? Why has life seemed more busy or more rushed? Because that's what I feel like a lot of times, and I know we're kind of getting to the end here, but that's what I feel like a lot of times what happens is the new year will start fine, and you just kind of going at a nice pace, but then it just seems like the year just picks up more and more and more and more, and there's got to be times where you step back and say, why is it seemingly getting faster? Why is it getting more busy or rushed or stressful or whatever it may be? Am I still doing things that are necessary in my life? And so, as we're talking about this stillness and focusing that attention on God, again, this isn't just a Christmas idea. This is just everyday life. Before your feet hit the floor, am I going to make sure that God is my focal point for the day, and then everything else falls into place? Or is it I'm only because let's be honest, sometimes we wake up stressed. We wake up because we already have this idea of how crazy the day's going to be. And when I look at myself, and when I do that, I've already taken my attention off of God. I've already taken my focus off of Him, and I'm looking at everything else. Especially if I ever wake up and there's like notifications of my calendar already on my phone of like I got to do this, and man, before I know it, I'm already thinking about everything else rather than either spending time with Him for the day or my focus on Him for that day. And so again, as we kind of wrap this up, and I know this is a little shorter episode than some of the ones recently, and just again a small challenge in the midst of the holidays and Christmas time. But as we're talking about this, again, remember stillness. As we talk about this verse, be still and know that I'm God. It's not talking about silence. Silence just for silence is still wasting time. But if we're silent and still to refocus on God and what He has for us, like you said, we may start to realize, why am I doing this stuff? Is it just to make me happy? Is it just to make others happy? Which are not bad things, but if it's doing that at the expense of taking my focus off the hope that I have and who Jesus Christ is and who God is and how He's helped my life and all of those things, then we've got to make sure we're adjusting and getting back to those moments of focusing on God, that He is first in our life. So I would challenge you with this. If you're listening on the day of, if you listen afterwards, pick a quiet moment, maybe no phone, no music, no distractions, no nothing, and just maybe add this little prayer to your life for the moment of just saying, Jesus, help me to notice You. God, help me to see You in the midst of all the craziness. Help me to see You, because again, it's one of those things, it's what you choose to focus on. Yeah. If you ever play that game where you've been riding in the car with somebody and y'all picked a certain color car to try to spot. You ever done that on a road trip? Okay. I'm the weird one here. I remember playing that game when I was a kid, or if it was, a road bingo or something like that, whatever it may be. But I remember we would pick a color car, to find as we were going on vacation. And at first, you never see it. But what happens is you start to focus so much on it that as you go down the road, it becomes all that you see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that is right here. The highway's still busy, right? There's still cars all around us. There's still random cows out in the field. There's still all kinds of stuff going on. But it doesn't take away the busyness. It just changes what we focus on. And that's the big thing as we look at all of that.
That sounds like a terrible game.
When you're little, it's what you can do to pass the time. Okay, in a time where we didn't have these, and in a time where we didn't have all the stuff, that's how you pass the time.
I was expecting you to explain it and be like this. I was like, oh, I really want to play this. I'd have just been like, I want to pick a white car, and I'd been
that's all the game was. I'm telling you. But, I'm not saying it was the best game. I'm just saying it was just something that we did to pass the time is all I'm getting at. Because guess what? We didn't have Netflix and Disney, and we didn't have all this stuff that we could, watch or play going down the road, So guess what? We had a pad with some bingo icons on it that was like, find a cow or find this highway sign. Or it was, if you didn't have that, it was like, okay, we're going to find all the blue trucks going down. Again, I'm not saying it's the best, all right? Probably nobody will play this, all right? Or maybe you try it next time just to see how fun it is, But it is that idea of what we focus on is what we see. Again, it didn't take away the busyness.
Yeah.
Didn't take away all the stuff around us, but it's what we choose to focus on. Yeah. And so if our prayer can be, God, help me to notice you, even in the midst of the busyness, you'll be amazed at where you see God working at in your life, in the midst of all the stress, in the midst of all the craziness, in the midst of all the busyness, in the midst of being in our head at times. We'll start to see God and how He's present in those moments in our life. And so, again, just a simple challenge to maybe help somebody refocus and get back to why we have hope. Yeah. Again, outside of Christmas, why daily we have this hope in our life.
Yeah, don't give your problem your attention, or don't give your problem more attention than what you're giving Christ.
Absolutely.
And I think whenever we get those things mixed up or out of order, God is a God of order. Yeah. I think when we get things out of order, a lot of bad things can happen.
Absolutely.
I think we've got to get back to remembering what Christmas is about. Yeah. But remembering too that, it's not always about us. It's always about Him. So.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all, and we do hope you have a very Merry Christmas. For all you parents, we hope you did include batteries with all the presents, because that's just mean if you don't do that. And but we do hope you are able to find that focus, that stillness, who God is, and we do hope you have a good time spending with your family.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Love y'all.
Merry Christmas. Appreciate
Merry Christmas.
You. I'm looking for a blue car.
Looking for a blue car? I'm going to go with a red one.
We're in a blue car, though.
No, that doesn't count if you're in a blue car.
Oh, that's not fair.
That's like the free space in bingo. It's for everybody.